Welcome to my porch, and this is episode 4 of the Wake9 Porch, and I'm here with my buddy Kevin.
Hello.
Sometimes referred to as my friend.
Oh, that's a strong word.
If it
Rob.
is.
It's a strong word.
Let's talk a little bit about your experience. How obviously you had 8 Malibus, you said?
I think about 8.
About
or
8.
or
So
9
like
or
3
something,
used ones and then 5.
yeah. Vice versa.
Okay,
so 5
so
used
5
ones.
used ones
yeah.
and 3 new ones.
Yeah.
So tell us kind of why you went with Malibu, what you love about Malibu, and then what happened, how you kind of switched.
Well, I just kind of fell in love with Malibu over the years. I always liked the way they looked.
Yeah, they're good-looking
And
boats.
this is all pre-surfing. This is back in
Yeah.
in the early 2000s and stuff. So when I started, getting into boats. And so I bought a used Malibu on Craigslist, and then I wound up selling it, and I made some money. And then I bought a couple-year newer one, then a couple-year newer one, until I finally got to where I was able to buy a brand new one.
Oh yeah, we haven't even talked
Yeah.
about that. Kevin is a talented flipper. He can flip. He can go cut down a tree and make money. I'm telling you, and he'll sell it back to the
Well,
guy
you know,
that
people
lived
do
there.
buy lumber.
Yeah, I know, but what I meant is you would like cut down one of my trees and
Right,
sell it
right,
back to me.
right,
Hey, I found this in your yard.
Right.
Kevin is a great salesman,
Yes.
and is always seeing deals, buying and reselling, and has made a good income doing that. All right, go ahead.
So, well, anyway, yeah. So, we wound up buying our first new Malibu when the Surfgate came out. I think it was 2013, and just loved it. It was the first, surf device on a factory boat, and we had just started surfing, a couple years prior to that, listing and that sort of thing, and we just loved the Malibu, like the fit and finish and everything. But right after we bought that 2013, we started having some quality issues, things like that, and then we wound up buying another one. I think it was a 15, and then a 16, and the quality we just kept seeing the quality going down and down. Now we love the way the boat looked, but the biggest complaint I had is the 16, the last one we had, I upgraded the engine. Back then it was the Chevy LS3 Corvette engine.
Yep.
Was the biggest one you can get. So I bought that one, and when you fully weighted the Malibu, put the wedge down, it has the hydrofoil wedge underneath that sucks the back of the boat down. That's their
Bread
their
and
ballast. Yeah, it's kind of their patented thing. But
Well, now
what
it's
happens
Surfgate,
is you're running at 4,500 RPM, 4,800 RPM. I mean, you're full bore. The thing's sucking down, 15 gallons an hour. And
Easy.
And when the surf gates are out, you had to hold that steering wheel for dear life, because if for me it wasn't an issue, but for my wife, you hold that. If you let go just for a second, the boat yanks really hard one direction, because you got 2 rudders in the water. One's out whichever side you're surfing on. So if you let go of the steering wheel, it yanks you. So the drivability was really, really hard. I mean, like I said, I love the way it looked, but there was a lot of fit and finish quality issues that we started having and noticing, and over the ones I'd had. All the older ones I had I loved, but the newer ones, it seemed like the quality wasn't as good as the older ones. So we had an opportunity to ride in a Supra at one of the events one time, and I was just blown away. Like we had always wanted a Nautique. That was kind of the best boat. In our minds, the best boat was a Nautique. Most expensive boat, it's the best. And we rode in the Supra, and all I could think of when I was sitting in the Supra was looking at the vinyl and the stitching and everything. I'm like, this is kind of like Nautique level. That's what I thought coming from the Malibu. I'm like, this is different, next level. And then we rode the boat, and it drove like a sports car. I'm like, this is crazy. It just gets right up on the plane. In the Malibu, we couldn't even get up on the plane. If you were loaded with the full crew with the LS3 motor, I couldn't even get up on the plane. I mean, it was kind of embarrassing, to be honest. So just that big difference right there on the Supra, I was sold. So the first one we bought was a 2016. I think the one we were in was a 15. It was right when they were coming out with their new style boats. And then the 16 SG is when the first brand new one we bought as a Supra. And we loved it. And then they came out with the SL, and then of course we're like, oh man, like they changed everything, and it was just beautiful boat. So we wound up buying the 2019 SL with the new dash and the new screens, and loved it. And now we have a 21 SL. And yeah, I mean,
And we just went out last weekend on your SL, and the wave was out amazing.
Yeah, Amy loves it. Yeah,
she
so
does. Amy
that's a
SL.
contention with Rob and his wife Amy is she loves the SL wave, and Rob likes the SE wave, and I honestly love the SE wave too. It's just a little bigger. You need more weight, but it's a bigger boat, better for a bigger cruise. You can put more weight in it, bigger wave, but it's a bigger boat. So you know some people size constraints in their garage or boat shed or wherever they need.
So let's talk about SL and SE in a minute because I want to talk about that more. But about the Malibu, I mean during that time I remember because I love the Malibu as well. The LSV. The 23 LSV,
that was my favorite boat.
An incredible boat.
Loved it, yeah.
Yes, and I remember being around that in like 2007, 8, 9. They were bulletproof.
Right.
They made a solid wave on both sides.
Right.
It was a great boat. And after that, though, I don't know if that's when Malibu went public and their whole corporate thing, but it was like steadily every year we kept hearing from the community more and more issues.
Yeah.
Boats getting to dealers that weren't finished.
Yep.
A lot of quality problems.
Well, they left so when they cut out the holes for the heater tubes, they left the fiberglass in there for you in case you ever wanted to replug it.
Yeah, because if you wanted to.
And then they always would leave about probably $50 to $100 worth of stainless steel screws and hardware in the hole for you. So you always had extra parts.
Because those are fun to pull out of your feet.
Extra parts, yeah. Oh, and the other thing that really drove me nuts with the Malibu, and this is actually another when Supra, it's swim deck issue. So when Supra switched to the new swim deck, I wasn't sold because when we had the spray issue, and I loved the original swim deck that was finished gel coat underneath. The original 18 and older swim deck on the Supras. Malibu swim decks, if you swam up to it and you grabbed it from the bottom, you would get like 12 pin pricks of fiberglass in your hands, and your kids or whatever swimming up just grabbing the swim deck. It just bothered me. They didn't take a grinder or anything underneath.
Smooth it at all.
So but Supra didn't do that. When they made their open swim decks on the new ones, they're definitely, there's no pokey things underneath.
I kind of like that because I grab it, and maybe because I weigh a lot more too, I grab it and it gives me something to hold on to. I do like that.
Well, and the new Supras also have the handles on the top.
those are beautiful. I love those
hand grip things. But yeah, that drove me nuts on the Malibu too. I'm thinking, you're paying all this money for a boat and they can't just have I just thought that they didn't have somebody at the end of the line just finishing stuff up, giving a good cleaning. And they always said it was the dealer's responsibility to do it. My interactions with Malibu directly on trying to resolve some issues, but the dealer was horrible as well. That was the other thing between Malibu and Supra. There's a lot of Malibu dealers because Malibu sells a lot of boats, so they have a huge dealer network. But a lot of their dealers just aren't very good. They don't care. They sell so many boats, they just don't care. Supra, I never got that feeling. The dealers, they're a little farther apart and fewer between, so sometimes that's a factor when you're buying a new boat. It's like, well, the dealer's an hour away, hour and a half away. But the difference in service is night and day. I mean, the dealers care. They're responsive. They take care of you. And I didn't get that with the Malibu, so that's another huge factor.
I also know this too. One, I didn't talk to Kevin about this ahead of time. I know how he feels, but Kevin doesn't care that I love Supra. Yeah, about anything. Doesn't care that maybe Supra would be watching. If Kevin thought that he had the opportunity, he'd be like, "Yeah, and my Supra sucks too." I mean, he would just tell you, So Kevin gives a very honest review, no matter what. And let me ask you a question: when you turn the surf system off and on the Supra, does it kick you?
Not at all.
All. You can almost let go.
You feel the initial when this surf, because it tilts the boat a little bit and shifts. But once everything's engaged and it's going, you can let go of the steering wheel. That was another thing I felt to mention.
Which is really kind of crazy.
It's amazing. And I always thought they had some kind of hydraulic steering or something that was able to lock it in place, but it's not.
There's a gremlin down there with a rudder or something.
It's amazing. So that was for my wife. I mean, that's key. Now, I mean, you're always holding the steering wheel, but you don't have to hold it like tight grip. You could basically hold it with a finger, and you could turn it while you're surfing with your finger. You could turn the steering wheel. It's amazing.
Yeah, and they engineered it that way because I remember asking about that, and they were like, hey, you know what? We've really worked hard on this thing, so test it. I'm like, okay. And then I didn't think about it. And then I went out there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can let go of the steering wheel. It's pretty crazy.
Now, I'm not going to throw the dealer under the bus, but because I don't know if this is a factory approved test riding etiquette, but before we bought our 16SG, we went on a demo with the dealer in California, and we were out on the lake, and I think it was an SA that we were doing the demo in, but similar hole and everything, and he was no ballast or weight, full speed, 30-something miles an hour, yanks the wheel and just in the water, just cranks it 360.
Was that Kyle?
I said I didn't want to throw anybody under the bus. Yes, Kyle Fulford, and he's probably watching this right now.
Yeah, from CMS.
Oh man, I said we're buying this boat.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, you didn't just bend the skegs, you didn't just rip the rudder off, like that actually just happened.
Oh, glad the boat is fine, but my wife is back there, so can we go pick up Leah?
He did warn us and said hold on, but I'm like, oh, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So that sold me too. I mean, like I said, it drives like a sports car. It's ridiculous, like on rails. Now, obviously, when you're full ballast, you probably wouldn't be able to do that.
But it does. It does.
But yeah, it was crazy. So that was our first demo experience. And
you mentioned on plane.
Thanks, Kyle.
I did videos before too. Like they also do this thing, and they've done this since 2016 or 17, where the surf system, as long as you are using a profile, so the boat knows you want to surf.
Yeah.
Or wakeboard. That's the one key thing. But if I'm there and then I have the speedometer off, so I want to get going, I can hammer it, and what it'll do is it will put both plates down. To get the back end out of the water to get you up on plane, and it works amazing. You can go on plane. Kevin has a 400. Yeah, I have a 550. He has a 400. We're out there with 1,000 pounds of lead.
I can't afford a 550 like this guy.
A 400, and you could get up on plane, and I've done that multiple times of demo events and stuff. It's pretty sick.
Yeah,
you definitely can't go wrong with that.